Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me.
Good morning. You are listening to KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, streaming live at ksqd.org. I am Catherine Bell, and this is the Dream Journal, a weekly show where we explore the healing powers of your nighttime dreams through conversations with dream experts and with you.
Stars fading, but I linger on, dear, still craving your kiss.
All right, we fade in the beautiful music of Rick Kleffel, who creates this music fresh for us every single week. In the words of Carl Jung, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. Your dreams are not crazy, they're genius. They are multilayered and polysensical, and they will always have more to reveal. Today, we have a conversation with mixed media artist Victoria Rabinowe, who has led over 800 events in which she inspires people to translate their dreams into poetry, prose, and collage. I am Catherine Bell of Experiential Dreamwork, and welcome to the Dream Journal. The Dream Journal is also a podcast, so you can look for that on all your major podcast platforms, or you can go to the K-Squid webpage for our permanent archives. That's at ksqd.org/the-dream-journal. So wherever you find the Dream Journal, feel free to review it and tell your friends about the Dream Journal. It really does help people to find the show. Let's see. So, what is my personal work right now? So, I have had a series of dreams in the last couple of weeks in which things were falling down. There was like this crazy 5-legged TV table where the legs were all wobbly and kind of collapsing, and me and my friends were trying to get it to stand up and couldn't do it. The thing just collapsed. And another one, I'm on this crazy dream car contraption with Max, and we're way up high, and this is weird, some weird trees on top of this contraption, this driving car truck thing, and it all collapses and falls over. It's like, what is this? And then we're working together to clean up the bits. And so, how am I working with these kind of images? It's something that it's like not that big a deal when things are falling over. It's like the things and my dreams that have been falling over, I have a scramble. I have this anxiousness of wanting to keep them upright. And there is a way that we have a lot of inertia in our lives, and we want I want our lives to go on the way that we recognize them. But sometimes the dreams open doors that are unfamiliar, and we may need to let go of some of our old ideas and our old ways of doing things to make room for the new. And it doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it's scary. Sometimes it can show up as like violent dreams, can sometimes be ways that we're letting go of things, letting go of who we thought we were, our own identities in a way. So even that can be a good dream, even though it doesn't feel so good, because it's something that we're letting go of. But I'm relieved that in these dreams, there's a sense that I'm struggle. Oh, well, let's let that one go. And I think it's particularly sweet letting go of the contraption of my whole idea about relationships and this dream with Max, where it all comes tumbling down. I'm like, well, maybe it doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe I get to just say, oh, well, I'm ready for a new way to look at relationships, and that's a good thing, I'll tell you. So today, as usual, we will open the phone during the last 20 minutes of the show. So get your questions ready. You might want to jot down the number now. It is 831-900-5773. That's 900 KSQD. You'll be able to share a dream or ask a question. And I'll be opening the phones in about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. And that number again is 831-900-5773. So we have Victoria Rabinowe. Welcome to the Dream Journal. Hello.
Good morning, Catherine. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to hear from you, coming in loud and clear. So, I'd like to invite you to introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Victoria, and who you are and what you do in the world.
Well, I am primarily a dream worker. It is my great quest in life to investigate dreams from many, many different angles. I'm also an artist. I'm a visual artist. I'm a book artist, and I'm a landscape artist, and I am also a teacher of memoir as well as dreams, and I'm writing my second book, so I'm also an author.
Oh,
and I've taught all over the world.
Uh-huh.
I've taught hundreds and hundreds of workshops and seminars from Europe to Canada to Japan and all around the States. And Zoom has really been quite the interesting partner for this time, because now I'm connecting with dreamers that I've worked with all over 25 years, and new dreamers as well. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, Zoom has been a real doorway, even as we go into our homes and close some doors, that these other doors, these cyber doors, have really opened up.
It truly has. I thought that dream work would be way too personal to do virtually, and for years I resisted people asking me to do webinars and such. But of course, our hands are tied now. We have no choice.
Right.
And what has really surprised me is that if the classes are small enough so that we can see everyone in the screen, that there's a surprising amount of intimacy that is really possible with Zoom. And it's made my work change. Of course, you can't teach the same on Zoom as when you're in person. But as long as we're flexible and we keep rolling with the time, it's been a godsend. It's been a real gift of this dark time.
Right, right. So, Victoria, why don't you tell us a little bit about how did you first get interested in dreams? Like, what first caught your attention about the dream world, and what were some of your early experiences with dreams?
Well, my first career was as a fiber artist, and I had a gallery in Santa Fe, a very successful gallery. But I would meet people from all over the world, and our conversations would be about clothing, and they would be about 1 hour long, and that would be it. And I was yearning to have a more profound encounter with the people that I met. And I was also wanting a more profound conversation with myself. I was a weaver, so I was very good at crossing colors and spinning and dyeing yarns to make beautiful fabrics, but I wanted to be a real artist. And I started to teach myself to draw and paint, but I didn't know what to paint. So I started meditating and doing visualization meditation and starting to draw and paint symbols, because I'm really not a technical drawer. And so I started developing a symbolic language and experimenting with watercolors and markers and pens and journaling. And then when I sold my business, I spent 6 months every single day, every morning. The phone was turned off, and I would go into a visualization meditation, go on a little story, and then back in the day, I would handwrite the story out and do a little visual, a little painting. And after 6 months of this inner practice, I got a flyer in my mailbox for the 10th International Association for the Study of Dreams, happening in my hometown in Santa Fe, within walking distance.
Whoa, what synchronicity.
And I thought, well, isn't this why I started? And really, truly, I did sell the business hoping to find my creative source and really change my life. So I thought, well, why not? I know I dream. I've bought a bunch of books on dreams. They've never meant anything to me. They're about other people's dreams. They never worked. But I thought, well, I could go to this conference and see what's what. And I did. And in 5 days, my life was changed forever. I never went back to visualization meditations because you still have this conscious ability to go left or to go right, to go down this path or that path. But with dreams, aside from the field of lucid dreaming, you have no particular control. The story is unfolding, and you are very present in it. It's not, it leads you completely. And so for a person like myself, who I have to admit is a bit of a control freak, I found that the dreams I could not control. And I would wake up with these amazing stories, weird, wild, confusing, scary, emotional, opening up channels that I had never had open before. And suddenly my life became so much magnified because I added a whole new life to my life. And every day was a new experience. It wasn't like, especially today in COVID times, you wake up and you think it's Groundhog Day. Day
Really?
after day, it's the same thing. But with dreams, you're having adventures. You're going places. You're traveling. You're doing all kinds of crazy things and meeting all kinds of weird and wacky people. And so talking about finding the source of creativity, this was bingo. This was it.
You're not even limited by anything physical in our dreams.
Not at all. So the wonderful thing about going to the International Association for the Study of Dreams conference is they have many different tracks. So they have one track with papers and master's thesis and studies on dream work, but they also have creative tracks. And so, of course, that's what I chose. So I was suddenly modeling my dreams in clay, torn tissue paper, collage, was creative writing, and even shamanic work, stuff that I had never done. And suddenly everything opened up, and it was so mysterious because it wasn't like intellectual dream work. It wasn't like this symbol means that, and your dream means this and that. It was it was through creativity. It all came up through me. I was able to manipulate the clay and see something unfold in front of my very eyes that no one was telling me was there. I was able to discover it all by myself through that tactile sense. And then I would take the same dream and work on it through creative writing, and something entirely different would happen and open up. And so what you opened this session with is saying how many layers there are to dreams, and it spoke to me entirely.
Absolutely. Well, there's a word I got from, I think, from your website, polysensical, which is a fabulous word. It's like multiple senses. Like there's many different senses we can make of our dreams, and you can work in different media, but there's also like different meanings and media. Maybe you could say a little more about that, or do you have an example that you could share? Well,
an example, I guess, is snake. I always look at dream symbol books, and the first thing I turn to is snake because I have a lot of snake dreams. And I was afraid back in early days to even admit that I'd had snake dreams because I figured there were some weird sexual deviant kind of dreams and somebody would know something about me that would be totally too personal and too invasive. And as my studies go on, I find that, sure, a snake can be a phallic symbol, but it can also be the great mother goddess. It can be about our creative energy, the Kundalini energy rising through us. It can be more physical, thinking about a snake. Okay, so you go to a dream symbol book and it's going to tell you something. But one of the things that I do is actually do movement, and I embody the snake, and the thought of becoming a snake and actually having no touch, no hands, no feet, all body, all touching the ground, head first, moving with my nose actually just into the landscape and around is a whole different sensation of snake than a dream symbol book is going to give you.
Right.
So so I always urge people to take a common theme in their dreams before they commit themselves to a dream symbol book, to see what snake means to them. And that's another thing too, is snake can be terrifying. I'm terrified of snakes in nature. I have a hard time not leaping out of my skin when I see one. But in dreams, they come in a whole different way, and they're not, even in a threatening dream, it may not be the same sensation as it is in waking. And I live in rattlesnake country, so we have lots of snakes here in the high desert. So they're very prevalent in my consciousness in many different ways. So that's another aspect of snake, is the difference between the way you feel about an image in waking and the way you feel about it in your dreams, and how those mesh and intertwine. And then there's also research that I do. My favorite symbol books, by the way, are the Thesaurus and the Dictionary and the Encyclopedia. And that's my go-to symbol book when I'm first investigating a dream. And so then I find about snakes that, they shed their skin.
Right.
Come on, that's depth psychology 101.
Right, transformation.
Their eyes cloud over when they're shedding their skin, so their vision changes. Their eyes become milky and shamanic-like. And snakes can be in the water or on the landscape or underground. They can come from down underneath to up above, so that's another shamanic thing. They are kind of an underworld creature that can be psychopunks and move us from the living to the dead. So there's that's one simple symbol, and if you go to one single source to look up what the snake in your dream means, you're never going to get the whole picture, and you're certainly not going to understand where you fit in to that symbol.
That's almost a bewildering number of options, and plus there's Asclepius, the healing of snakes and all that. And I want to get more into how do we determine what our particular symbol is, but I wanted to also play a bit of music right here. We're going to. I have a little Roy Orbison thing going today. We have 2 different Roy Orbison pieces of music, and I want to let everybody know that in about 15 minutes, I will be opening the phones, so you'll be able to call in to 831-900-5773, and we are talking to Victoria Rabinowe. This is the Dream Journal, and you are listening to K-Squid 90.7 FM, and I am your host, Catherine Bell.
Dream, baby, got me dreaming sweet dreams the whole day. Dreaming sweet dreams, nighttime too. I love you and I'm dreaming of you. That won't do. Dream, baby, make me stop my dreaming. You can make my dreams come true. Sweet dreams, baby.
We are here live with Victoria Rabinowe, and we've just gone through a kind of bewildering array of the different possibilities of snake. And so you've led so many events, Victoria, that you must have ways of helping people discern what are their meanings, or is it okay that there be multiple meanings or even all meanings? How do you find what your particular meaning is in one of these rich images? Yeah.
It's twofold. If I'm doing a talk dream circle, then all and everyone in the group is able to contribute their notions of snake, and that is a very rich way of being with the dream and being with others in a very deep way. But the other thing that I do when I'm teaching workshops is I change every week the way I approach the dream. So you could take your snake dream and you could come to 5 or 6 or 10 different classes, and each time you would come into that dream from a different perspective. So I do a lot with creative writing and imagining that you are the snake. And so you write one day that I am snake. And then you talk about who you are and what you're doing in the dream and how the others are reacting to you. Or you may change places and have a dialogue between the snake and another image in the dream. Or you might make a mandala. And, that's a visual part. So you may also want to work synchronistically with collage materials and sound imagery, which just keeps expanding the notion. And so it's perhaps not appropriate for someone who wants an answer to what does this dream mean, because that's not really, it's meaningful, and it just keeps opening, not closing it by telling someone this dream means this thing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So,
I love that because, I sometimes get like a sinking sensation when someone tells me, oh, now I know what this dream means. Because like then they've like pinned it to a mat like a butterfly and like there's no more life in it. There is not just one meaning for every dream. So I love hearing you say that, Victoria.
Well, thank you, Catherine. That's exactly, you put it really well. It's like pinning the butterfly to the wall and not letting it fly. So for me, the other part of what I do is the work I do is about finding the source of creativity in others as well as myself. So I don't do psychotherapy, and I'm not a psychotherapist. I am an artist, and I am a writer and a creative person. So when I ask people, say we do a melodrama out of the dream or a fairy tale where we expand the dream and we explode the feelings and we go over the top and we exaggerate, that becomes a very creative act to do some juicy writing and some really exciting artwork. And I tell people, you don't have to worry if it's true or not. You can just go there creatively.
What is truth anyway? We're talking about dreams here. Love that.
So I'm not here to tell you how sick and damaged you are. I'm here to tell you how much imaginative work you have in you and how far you can go. And of course it turns out being meaningful. But that's not the goal. The goal is just to explore and be curious and creative and open to whatever shows up, whether that's something that someone else in a dream circle says to you or something you discovered through synchronicity of finding collage images, which is really one of my most favorite things to do. And especially in COVID, now is a great time to just start cutting up all those old books and magazines and newspapers and getting a whole stack of images together. And when you have a dream, to just look through some of those images and see what responds. I had a dreamer last week who had this dream about a melon, and she couldn't find a picture of a melon.
Right.
And I said, it's not about finding a picture of a melon. And she was sitting behind a mandala on her wall. And I said, there's your melon. And she goes, there's a melon form, and start looking for all of the round, succulent shapes that you can find. And if what you come upon is a mandala, what a whole different meaning it is for a melon that is filled with seeds and potential. So that's kind of a real quickie about the synchronicity of what you find. But I really encourage listeners to give a try to found imagery and found text, which is also really, it moves you. It moves you from being stuck in even if your own single interpretation or even your own confusion. It gives you a leg up. It gives you a place to go. And I guess that's really what I do in my workshops is I try to give people a support from where to jump into their dream so that they're not floundering.
Right, right. It's so interesting, the text as well. So you would cut out words or sentences or phrases and put those right there on the collage and
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and your program is all about dream journaling. So
Right.
the dream journal is the most wonderful vehicle there is, because you can do anything in the journal with found images, found text, creative writing, painting, doodling, napping, anything. So I love the idea of dream journaling, and that's closest to my heart.
Right, right. So do you also do creative writing with your people, with your events that you do? Like a kind of not creative
Yes,
writing.
in fact, that's
I don't mean like writing stories per se, but more like
primarily.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Tell me about that. Like how does that go, and what could you recommend for our listeners to give a start at doing some journaling exercises around their dreams?
Well, back in the day in my studio, we would start with the collage, but in Zoom, as I said, I have to reorganize. So we do mainly creative writing. So the first thing I ask people to do is read a dream, and everyone in the group, or you, if you're alone, title the dream. That means you have reread the dream, and you've looked at it, and you've picked some pithy image out of it to remind you, as the year goes by, of what that dream was about. And just that one act will really give you a leg hold on the dream. And then I do a lexicon, and I write who all the characters are, who the creatures are, the inanimate objects, the landscapes. And then I have, as I started saying before, and I ask questions. I just sit there and just wonder without trying to figure out what the answer is. Just asking the questions, and you'd be amazed at how easy that is and how profound.
Oh, just
then
asking.
I would do something like I mentioned before. I would become one of the images and riff, or I would actually just say I am everyone and everything in the dream. So I am the five-legged table.
Yeah.
I am the snake. I am the landscape. So that would be one project. Right. And then I would do, as I had mentioned, maybe a theatrical dialogue, or I write letters. And then I also show people how to make an envelope, or you can put your dream writing into an envelope in your journal. So that may be something you don't want other people to see, but you've done the writing. And that's what I also emphasize, is you write raw. You write from the gut, and if you are in a group, you don't have to share it. If it hits something you didn't expect or something too personal, the idea is to write it, and if you're going to censor anything, censor the reading, not the writing.
Okay.
But I really believe in writing raw. And then, I said something about I am everything in the dream. There's also a chance to fight back. What if it's a real monster or a really malevolent being? There's a place to fight with all your might against that monster and say, I am not that, and I refuse to accept that. And you can see the change in a nightmare when you do that. You have suddenly really turned the tables on that fear and concern that you woke up with. Because in a nightmare, we're generally a victim. And in doing any creative act with that dream, you have turned the tables, and you have gained control over that image, and it can never haunt you again. You'll have other nightmares, you'll have other disturbing dreams, but if you face your monsters instead of waking up and saying, I don't even want to think about that dream, and you just pull all your courage together and you start to either rant and rave, or start drawing or painting, or just write, and things do change. They do change. So that's, we pour our heart out for Valentine's Day, which is coming up. I'm going to be doing some kind of a real emotional workshop for Valentine's Day. And then, let's see, what else? Poetry poetry. We write all forms of poetry. So again, what I'll do is have people break down the dream into characters and inanimate objects and riff a little bit about what those images mean to me. And maybe I'll look them up in the thesaurus to get some more juicy language.
Right.
And then I have all this language and all these characters, and then it's so smooth to move into some poetic form with all of that.
Well, poetry is something
great place.
that is most definitely polysensical, and so dreams are, I like to think of sometimes as a kind of poetry. So, Victoria, we actually have a call. Someone called in early, and I'm like, well, maybe we should just go with it. Are you game to go to the phone and see who's there?
Always.
Okay. So, hello, caller.
Hi, my name's Barbara, and I'm in upstate New York.
Oh, great. Thanks for calling, Barb.
Yeah, and I'm a writer, and I called in because a childhood friend, Victoria Rabinowe, who's a dream expert, I don't know, I think you know her, Dreaming Art.
She's on the phone with you right now, in fact.
I've been very intrigued. I'm a writer, so I write, and I also do a lot of speaking, so it's a different type of creativity, and I paint on the side. But I've been very intrigued with what she's done, what I've learned about dreams from her and her different books and when we've spent time together. And I thought I would call in and find out, a little bit more about how maybe the two of you work together or don't, or how you focus on different areas of dreaming, if there are different types of dream experts. But I'm particularly interested because since the pandemic started, and what are we in the 9th or 10th month now, I'm about to have my first pandemic birthday, which I hope is my only one. I have been dreaming so much more. And I don't, if you're hearing that from other people you work with, talk with, and they're not always wonderful dreams. I've done the things that I think I'm supposed to do of turning off the screens an hour before bedtime, etc. Not watching as many episodes of Homeland or The Americans maybe during this period. So I just thought I'd, bring up kind of question.
Well, Barbara, thank you for calling in. I'm really glad to hear from you. And I wonder if you would be willing to share some of your experiences that you've had in working with, Victoria's books or at one of her workshops. Is there, what have you gotten out of dream work? You say you're a writer. Has this helped you in your writing? If it's okay with you to share a little bit about yourself, I'd love to hear.
Yeah, I can say it's helped me with my writing.
Okay.
It's more that I've just intrigued that this is the direction she went in, and it made me realize that there are people who are interpreting dreams. I thought, only therapists interpreted dreams. No, it's more that it's a learning experience and being proud that she's found this niche, which is very different from the original direction she was in. So I'm intrigued that there are a lot of other dream experts.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing, the IASD that Victoria mentioned, and I highly second, is that the International Association for the Study of Dreams is a group of dreamers of all kinds, from professionals to artists to shamanic to people who are just interested in their own dreams, and that the conferences can indeed be transformative. And we're having a conference this year in June, and it looks like it's going to be online. It's going to be virtual. So that's going to make it easy for everybody to attend and get a little taste, because there are so many ways of working with dreams. As both Barbara and Victoria have been saying, there's a huge variety of ways to approach dreams, and we each have our unique approach, and it might help to be exposed to several different techniques before you start to see what really resonates for you.
That's one of the benefits of the IASD, of course, and that's my background for 25 years. I've been learning from the masters, so all of my workshops are derived from having worked with all these different professionals from different ways. I've never settled into a single way of working with dreams. So that's what I encourage in everyone, is to look at many ways. Just as there are many ways of looking at a dream symbol like snake, there are also that many ways of working a dream. So, and I wanted to just address the COVID dreams and the political dreams we're having, the disturbing dreams, because, again, a lot of them are clear. People aren't wearing masks in our dreams, or they're doing some kind of dangerous behavior, or getting more and more dangerous every day. And they are extremely disturbing. So at one level, all dreams for the last 11 months have been COVID dreams and political dreams, all of them. If you look down deep enough, you will find that. But there are also the other levels of this are the things that are truly disturbing in us, in our childhood, in our physical reaction to the events of the day, to our emotional balance, our spiritual balance. Each of these daring, disturbing dreams are challenging us to go deeper into our own sense of what really are our core issues. And I know for myself that these difficult news stories are really bringing up stuff that is so down deep in me, I didn't even know it was there until I start writing. And then there it comes. And I must say, too, that the beauty of being in a group is that you find out those things that you didn't even know about yourself are true for everyone in the group. And so if you start working with a theme, for example, like freedom, I overlay a theme, and I will, for Martin Luther King Day, the theme of freedom, and most dreams are about freedom or the lack of it. So suddenly everyone is writing and looking at their dreams for that road in, past the COVID, past the politics, and starting to understand their deep down lifelong issues with freedom.
Right, absolutely. Well, I want to get back to Barbara just to say, hopefully this has been a helpful discussion. And how are you?
Hi.
What's going on? How are you right now, Barbara?
No, this is very helpful.
Good.
It's a matter of gathering information, and it makes it all, makes it sense. And I'm very curious, as I haven't gotten vaccinated yet. I'd like to. As I get vaccinated, as more people I know, and as maybe things calm down politically, perhaps it will be interesting to see how my dreams and other people's dreams change, because this is I think we're in such new, uncharted territory.
There are some IASD researchers who have been looking into the way that COVID has affected dreams. Deirdre Barrett has a book out already called Pandemic Dreams. And in my personal experience, there are a lot more nightmares as well. So we have just a few, maybe 20 seconds before we need to go to our next break. Do you want to add something here, Victoria?
Well, I just want to put a plug in for keeping a dream journal.
Yep.
Because you will see this, how you psychically move through this time. This time is so profound in so many ways that my dearest wish for you is to be recording all the dreams, including fragments, including the scary ones, and including the lengthy ones, and just making a practice out of that and giving the dreams a title and just acknowledging them, because that's a third of our life.
Yeah.
And I just want, can I say one more thing?
Sure.
We did a dream resume for 2020.
Oh.
And it turns out while we were all stuck in our homes doing nothing, our nightlife, we were traveling the world. We were having experiences and meeting people and going and doing things that were amazing. And when we read that to each other, we realized that we really have had a life this year.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, like
journal.
Victoria, thank you.
To you, Barbara.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Well, we'll be right back with Victoria Rabinowe. And Barbara, thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate getting the calls. All right. Well, thank you. We will be right back with Victoria Rabinowe. And I want to say this is the Dream Journal. You are welcome to call in. The phone lines are now open. So the number to call is 831-900-5773. And we are standing by with an open phone line. This is the Dream Journal, and you are listening to K-Squid 90.7 FM, streaming live at ksqd.org.
Dream, and they might come true. Things never are as bad as they seem. So dream, dream, dream.
We are here with Victoria Rabinowe. This is the Dream Journal. My name is Catherine Bell. You are listening to K-Squid 90.7 FM in Community Radio of Santa Cruz. And we have a caller on the line. So that both lines are now busy. So if you're trying to call in, you'll have to wait until our caller is done and then give us a call then. Let me say hello to our new caller. Hello.
Hi, my name's Julie. I've worked with Victoria before, and I just wanted to encourage her to talk a little bit for the writers out there to make art a little bit more accessible, because my experience was that she took somebody who is very non-right brain, very logical, linear, wedded to the word, and just having met her and experiencing her as a lovely person, that gave me the courage to join her workshop, where her promise was to come with a dream and leave with a book. And I had no idea that the book was going to be visual. So the visual piece for me was super important, because in the polysensical world that we live in, I think that for me, when we're infants developing into toddlers, the visual and the tactile senses are what help us move forward in life. So any ways she can encourage us to use visual images at home and share that wisdom, I think would be really important. And then how we then do that prior to going into one of her workshops, which right now might be a little bit more verbal, would be really helpful for people. I think it also might help people like me who are like, art, I don't do art, demystify it.
Right. Well, was it Julie? I'm sorry, I missed your name.
Yes, Julie.
Julie, okay. I'm wondering, do you have an experience that you could share with our listeners, how it was for you to go into this, even saying I'm not an artist, and like, what was it like for you? And do you have something you could share with us about your own experience?
Yes. Her first workshop had a theme called Dodging the Blade. And that was interesting to me, because I didn't know exactly what that meant. And I was talking with friends about what it meant. And they said, well, where have you, survived in a dream? And then that brought up my most recurrent, terrifying dream, which was having my personal house broken into in the dream recurrently, and then always taking my purse. So in the workshop, we decoded that in all the different ways you all have been talking about. And someone said the most powerful thing. They said, well, when they take your purse, they have your whole identity, even your makeup. And that word makeup really struck me. And then it was like makeup, like genetic makeup, and it kind of opened a cosmos of possibilities. So then when she led us into translate it into imagery, it was just to really go through the imagery quickly and pull out things that might relate. And so then that was like, okay, and I stopped thinking in the concrete realm. I just started thinking about words like makeup and stolen and robbed and dodging the blade and how that happened. And I started, purses and compositions and interiors of purses came out, and I just started to lay them down on the paper. And they formed a meaning that astounds me to this day, which is it was a meaning about nearly being robbed of my life at birth.
Oh, well.
And that didn't come up through anything other than the imagery that was chosen for entirely different reasons.
Wow, Julie, thank you. That's beautiful. Victoria, do you want to
Sure.
jump in here?
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
That was very eloquent.
Very.
And I'd just like to define imagery. I think Julie is talking about found images from magazines and books and papers.
Mm-hmm.
So let me back up then. When I first started this work, I was not an artist. I was a fiber artist, and I could make pretty colors and pretty fabrics, but I couldn't draw or paint. So I know what that feels like of not having any confidence that I could do that. So I have lots of tricks for those kinds of people who have never written or never done visual art. Those are my specialties. I love working with those people because my techniques just are a springboard, an easy springboard. So you don't have to be able to draw in order to find a really emotional picture of someone screaming, for example. It's right there. And so you can cut that image out and use it, and it has power. Another thing we can do is we use our left hand to draw, and no one can draw with their left or non-dominant hand.
Right.
And are you lefty?
No, I'm not, but I think that's brilliant because nobody thinks that their non-dominant hand is proficient, so you kind of takes away all the expectations.
That's right. And so there's other ways of doing creative work is doing a map. You don't have to be able to draw to arrows and circles and dots. And another thing that I did great on early was create a symbol language. So when I couldn't draw the thing, I drew some kind of a geometric structure that would symbolize the symbol. And so there are a lot of tricks in my playlist to support people who don't think of themselves as writers or artists.
Right. Oh, I love that. Thank you. So Julie, do you have anything else you want to add, or any other questions you want to go in here? Or?
No, I think that was really helpful because I think that the left hand in particular goes to the right brain, so that opens up for right brains that are a little bit less flexible like mine.
Right.
It opens it up, and I'm going to play with that for sure.
As they say, only lefties are in their right mind.
Exactly.
Well, it turns out I do a lot of left hand because I have a tremor in my dominant hand. I cannot draw. I can't hold a pen or a pencil. So when I did, my drawings were really boring. Now, that squiggly, uneducated line is so much more charming. And so I do much more with it. And so I'll leave that at that. But I will say also what Julie was talking about. In my typical workshops in the studio, we write, illustrate, and bind a book in one dream session. And that gets pretty interesting.
Oh, wow.
Because also we have a time limit, so we can't wallow around thinking whether we should go left or right or what it means. We just work so fast that we circumvent, just like the left-hand drawing, we circumvent that brain that just wants to think about things.
Yeah.
And we move so fast that with stream of consciousness, things come up that are totally unexpected, like Julie was talking about.
So, Julie, I want to let you go. See if we're going to have one more quick call before the top of the hour. But I'm so glad that you called in. It was wonderful to have you on the show.
Thanks much.
Okay. So we do have our phone lines open. If we want to have one more quick caller, you can call in at 831-900-5773. We have about 6 or 7 minutes before the top of the hour, and someone might want to say hello. But Victoria, this has been a fabulous conversation. Maybe in this break here, you want to talk a little bit about the work of the book that you have in progress.
Well, yes, it's a challenge because, again, I don't see myself as a writer, and yet I'm writing a book. And I want to really put my arms around this body of work. I think it is, the breadth and the depth of it is original and unique, and I want that to be my legacy. So I'm struggling heartily with it because it's a book for writers, so the writing has to be really good. And
just saying that might be a little bit of a story you're telling yourself, Victoria. That maybe it just is what it is.
Well, I like I said, I like a lot of control when I'm awake.
So, Victoria, we have another caller on the line. This is fabulous. Maybe the caller would like to say hello, introduce your name, and where you're calling from.
Hi, my name is Sean, and I'm calling from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I've had the great fortune to be able to attend some of Victoria's workshops.
Excellent. Well, thank you for calling, Sean. Do you have a question or a dream you'd like to share or experience? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I was moved by what you guys were saying about nightmares, and I took her class when I was much younger, so I was looking at it as just a way to explore art. But as you all know, it really unlocked some inaccessible emotional parts of me that kind of blindsided me, and it's drawing some emotions just now. But for people who have maybe traumatic childhoods or difficult childhoods, I don't think it's a secret that it's very easy to lock that stuff away and mask it with humor and being okay. And the pleasant surprise of taking her workshop was finding a way to access those kinds of feelings that I didn't even recognize in myself through the metaphor of dream. And it was just such a gentle, perfect expression where we could laugh about these, nightmares and embarrassments of being naked or on the toilet or tsunamis and lava flows. And so I think the transformation for me was taking me from what were nightmares, regular nightmares of really epic tragedy with, like I said, lava, hurricanes, being washed away in floods. And suddenly, as we discussed them and worked through them in this playful kind of safe environment, I was having dreams of spiders and mosquitoes. Suddenly, sort of manageable pets.
Right. Pests rather than disasters.
Yeah, there's a direct correlation between kind of, as Victoria said, confronting these demons and not being afraid to open up the box of emotions. But I guess my question would be, is I know how it's transformed me. I would really love to hear Victoria speak about how it has personally transformed her over the. She's done it so long, Do you turn into Yoda by the end of it?
That is the question. Yes.
Enlightened being.
Thank you, Sean. That's a wonderful question, Victoria. What do you have to say about all that?
Well, that's a pretty challenging question, Sean. I'm so deeply immersed in the dream world. I would say that it's given breadth and depth to my life, and surely I have dealt with the big issues, the big family of origin issues, marriage issues. I wound up actually, I have changed my life completely through the information that I've gotten through the dreams. I would also like to say that has happened over years. It's not like I had a dream and I changed my life one day. It's moving through these images and the work and the writing and the epiphanies and the ahas till my whole being has shifted. I'm no longer married. I'm no longer anybody's child. My work as a teacher has become much more gentle and supportive. So I've learned how to teach. I've learned how to have relationships. I've learned how not to have relationships. I really like who I've become, and I did go to psychotherapy way back when. And the first thing I told the therapist was I hated myself. And I can honestly say that dream work has changed me so much that I can say I'm very satisfied with who I've become and how I manage in the world. So I don't know. Is that a good enough answer for Sean?
Well, yeah.
I like who you've become too.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you,
Thank
Sean.
you.
What a wonderful question. I'm really so glad you called in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the opportunity.
All right. Take care. So, Victoria, that is just so beautiful. I too have found that there's been a huge transformation in my relationship to who I am, and you express it so well that it isn't necessarily, you don't necessarily become Yoda in Sean's words, or I don't even trust anybody who said that. I'm enlightened. Like that is like I don't know that I don't think I would trust someone who said that. That's not what it's all about. But taking joy in life and joy in who we are, like what a gift that is.
It truly is. And yes, when you can take the worst, scariest nightmare and turn it into something juicy writing and profound art. Wow. What better road is there than that?
Right.
But can I just give a little plug before we end?
Please, this is the perfect time to do that.
Listeners are more than welcome to get in touch with me. I teach Winter Wednesdays, an international class, so you meet people from all over the world on Wednesdays. It's a 3-hour workshop on Zoom. And then I also, if you want to get on my mailing list, I will be doing a Valentine's Day special and on a Saturday, and I'll try to do some weekend workshops as well. And throughout the year, I do all kinds of special events.
All right.
So they're always open as long as I have room for people. And my email is dreamingarts@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And my website is victoriadreams.com.
Okay.
And
that's it. That's great.
Please get in touch with me if you're interested.
So we have about 30 seconds left. I wonder if you would have any final words for our listeners. Final thoughts.
Journal. The Dream Journal is the core, and what a perfect time where we're in COVID and we're locked down. What a perfect time to explore your other life and open that door.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree 100%. Thank you. Victoria Rabinowe. That's Rabinowe. Victoria Rabinowe. Thank you so much for being on the Dream Journal, and I look forward to seeing you at the IASD online, it looks like, but I will definitely be there, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you again at some point.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I will be teaching Dream Journal, how to run a Dream Journal group as well. So that's going to be something I do at Dream.
So what are your offerings for a few seconds for that conference? Are you doing a dream group as well?
I'll be teaching people dream group leadership, how to start a dream group, and I also do that for private groups throughout the year. I will also be showing how to do the creative writing piece.
Okay.
And so, and I will be running a dream group in the morning as well, which would just be talk.
Right.
And that is relying on the genius and the breadth and depth of the fabulous people that of all of their backgrounds and all of their knowledge. So that will be really interesting, too.
Thank you, Victoria.
Well, thank you, Catherine. What fun.
All right.
Great to talk to you.
All right. Bye now.
Bye.
So next week, our guest will be Christopher Doggett. We will be talking about the couples work of Terry Real and about the expression of non-binariness. You can listen live next Saturday at 10 or catch the podcast replay, which will be released on Monday following the show. Also, if you want to find out more about that IASD conference, you can go online to asdreams.org. Their webpage is asdreams.org.
Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you.
I am Catherine Bell, and this has been the Dream Journal. Thanks for listening. You can find out more about my dream coaching practice at experientialdreamwork.com, and you can email me at catherine@ksquid.org. That's KATHERINE@ksqd.org. Please do contact me for a free introductory dream consultation. I'd also like to thank my program assistant, Max Deaton, and our creative musician, Rick Kleffel. And our 3 Collins from Barbara, Julie, and Sean. And thank you also really to the donors who support this station. This is really keeping us alive the way that people do donate. And you can donate at any time at ksqd.org. I am Catherine Bell, and you are listening to KSQD Santa Cruz.